Hello, Delvers, and welcome back to Pixelscopic Livestream for April 3rd? 2015. Pixelscopic is an indie game development studio working on Delver's Drop, a combat-focused, randomly generated action RPG. I'm your host and longtime streamer of the game, Vasae, here to discuss its development with...
I'm Ryan Baker, the artist and creative director of the game, and this week we're going to be working on some, what were called companions. I'm now calling them companion sprites or just sprites. They're basically the familiars or kind of summon spirits, little helpers, whatever you want to call them, of the Delver's world. They're kind of involved in our stretch goals and things like that, so the idea is that you would be able to summon these at some point in the game, and that a second player could actually take control of one and kind of like fly around and help the main kind of player character. So sort of like somewhere between like Navi from Zelda, except not annoying, or like Pokemon but not as cute, or kind of like the Personas and other kind of demon summon creature type things from the Shin Megaten and Persona games, except not as dark. So it's like somewhere kind of in that zone is basically what we're going to be making. I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit too, because it's a little loud here for me at least.
I think that the annoyance of Navi is really overplayed. I don't think she was nearly as annoying as people remember her being. Yeah,
I think it was just that stage in games where, like, well, there was only a certain level of kind of tutorial scripting that you could do, and they kind of overdid it because they're Nintendo and they wanted a handhold, and everyone's just like, especially if you play the game a second time, it's like, oh please, just like shut up and let me keep playing. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember her being that annoying. I like Ocarina of Time a lot.
I still have not finished it, so that's
really?
pretty horrible. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of games I haven't finished, but what I'm doing right now is so all of these companion sprites are to kind of tie it in with the world and the lore and all of that, they're all going to be this sort of combination of two elements. If we ever, like, my idea is kind of like, I would love to make some kind of Pokemon-ish game or card game or something like that with kind of these summon monsters in the future. So I'm trying to like build this such that these characters or these little critters are interesting enough that you could want to play like a whole game with just them, and you know, so they've got to be kind of fun, get players attached to the ones that they like. But you know, so to summon these, I want to do something where you can kind of pick like a combination of a couple elements. And it looks like I lost Vasae there for a second.
Oh, sorry.
We lost your video feed or something?
Yeah, for some reason it went to scene 2. So.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so each of these, I kind of built a spreadsheet that shows in this column the primary element and in this column the secondary. So we're not going to do every combination, so I still kind of have to figure out how you choose in the game, because it's not going to be like, and we don't even have ideas for all of these because there are like, you know, 200 something combinations, and I can't build a whole, like I can't build the, you know, second or third Pokemon game inside of Delver's Drop, because that would just be more insane than insane. But you know, so we're gonna kind of go through, and I'd like to have like 1 or 2 or 3 of these in each kind of main elemental group. So there might be 3 that are primarily Splendor but have attributes of, you know, Surge or Fury or what have you. The other thing is, like, these creatures, none of them are like really good or evil. They're just kind of like little monster animal things, you know. They can, and people can like summon them, control them. They slip in between the dimensions. They're pretty much beings of well, mostly like pure energy or some spirit energy too. So I think your camera went to sleep again.
I'm fixing that.
Oh, okay.
I'm fixing that potential problem here.
So yeah, they can slip in between the dimensions, kind of exist on the spirit plane and on the energy spectrum. When they manifest physically, they aren't like really kind of physical beings. If you kill one or whatever, they're just going to kind of poof in, you know, a burst of energy, and there are more where that came from, so to speak. So yeah, they're not exactly living beings, and they can be just kind of summoned out of thin air from, you know, other dimensions and so on. They're pretty much all going to be floating, more than likely, or if they do walk along the ground, it'll be kind of like a floaty walk. So really, like, they're going to be sort of semi-transparent and glowy for the most part. Some of them might have like armory bits, but you know, I kind of want them to look a little more like nebulous and like they're made out of energy. So today we're going to be just kind of like sketching some of those. So I need to make myself like a short list of some to work on. So let's see, I'm probably just going to sort of run through the list, and what we did, which you might be able to read some of here, is I was going through trying to come up with names of certain creatures from various folklores and things like that. We might change the spelling or do something like do kind of a pun or something like that based on the name, but I did want to do kind of like, you know, have like a kobold and a tengu and like a kappa, you know, that sort of thing, and a few others. Like I told my girlfriend I would do Beatrice for her dog, but I'm gonna make it a sort of a guiding spirit, so kind of like I guess probably pronounced Beatrice from the Inferno. And so anything like that is kind of fair game, but I want it to be like a little bit removed. You know, I don't want any like super explicit references to like specific stories, I guess. So, you know, I might do one that's called the Siren, but it's not going to be like a literal kind of siren, you know, the kind of female mythological figure. It's just going to be like a, you know, it might be kind of feminine looking, but sort of animal, sort of spiritual, that sort of thing. So anyway, like we can probably just start with, like, let's just start with Siren, because I mean, I really like taking those like older mythological ideas, or just kind of the assumption of what, you know, a knight looks like, or an archer, or in this case, you know, a siren, and doing something more, like doing something pretty different with it. I just realized I probably shouldn't put the search on the screen because it's a lot of mostly naked women. But you know, so obviously you don't want to do that. Some of these are kind of, well, there are a lot of sirens that are sort of more mermaid-like, but I want to say that it always gets confused, like if they were mermaid-like or bird-like. I want to say, like, I feel like the bird-like form is more original, so we'll do a little Wikipedia search. Unless I'm thinking of something else. Like, I mean, harpies are like that too.
I mean, I guess the Greek mythology, sirens were always fish.
Yeah, the lured
sailors
to shipwreck,
to their death.
rocky shores, blah blah blah. See,
or at least
daughters of the river god.
Yeah, I don't know if they were necessarily fish, but they were water aligned.
Well, and then there's some reference to Helen in her anguish calls upon winged maidens.
Yeah. I've definitely seen both.
Yeah.
You were talking about a dog. You mean like a foo dog?
Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe. I mean, I would be fine with doing one of those.
And for those of you who don't,
yeah, here we go.
So
this is what I'm thinking of, Odysseus and the Sirens. Like, the older pictures actually do show them as kind of these bird women. So, I mean, that could be interesting. Like, what if we did something that had bird, and I really like Waterhouse, this artist. He's one of the kind of late pre-Raphaelites, and he did the Sirens this way. So I think that's why this is painting, and some other similar ones are probably why I tend to think of them as birds. So let's do a combination. Like, let's do some kind of a fish bird thing with maybe like a kind of humanoid female face that would, you know, probably shoot sound waves or something like that to cripple enemies, hinder them.
As I split the difference, make it like a flying fish.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and I think to keep the graphics simple, these will probably all just face, kind of face toward the camera at all times, if that makes sense.
As I was saying, if people don't know what foo dogs are, they're a kind of Korean Chinese guardian spirit. There's also foo lions. It's F-O-O.
Yeah, we'll just pull something up here. That could be a second one. I don't know. We could either do something like this for Beatrice, or we could combine it somewhere else too, like make another one that is like a. I don't know if is there a more traditional name for the foo dog, like something that's more kind of in the. Like in Chinese or Japanese, or I guess I don't actually know what the primary culture is.
I mean, foo, F-U or F-O-O, depending on what. I don't think. I mean, I know the Koreans call them something. The Koreans definitely call them different stuff. Like
did you say? Sorry, I might not have been totally listening earlier. Did you say Korean was the main culture that they come from? Or?
No. I mean, they're kind of shared between Manchurian, Mongolian, Korean, and Chinese. I don't know where the original idea originated from.
So this is Chinese guardian lions Shishi. So yeah, I wonder. Mm-hmm. So maybe we would call them Shishi in the game, and just to be like a little different. But I think I originally heard the term foo dog from the Dresden Files, which is a series of novels about kind of a modern day wizard in Chicago who sort of inadvertently adopts a this dog that he calls Mouse, that's descended from foo dogs supposedly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put Shishi in this sheet if we don't already have it.
You could also kind of go with like a Maneke Nico.
What's that?
Those are the cat idols that you sometimes see in Japanese or I guess Asian restaurants. The ones that kind of have the arm and the yen in front of them. They're called beckoning cats. They're a lucky charm or talisman. They're the white cats, you know. I don't know if people are visualizing what I'm talking about. They're statues.
I know the white cats. I guess I didn't realize that was a specific. I thought that was just kind of like a fun pop culture thing. I didn't realize it was a more like mythological thing too.
Yeah, it's to do with like the fortune gods from Shintoism and stuff. Yeah, they're called Maneke Neko. It means beckoning cat. They're kind of like the fat Buddhas that a lot of Chinese restaurants have. They're for good luck, prosperity.
So I'm trying to decide. We had Siren down in the sheet, but I don't like the elements that it's under. Well, right now it's under Howl and Thrive. I don't know why I put it there, or maybe it just got mixed up. But
Thrive's the water element, right?
Yeah. Sorry, what's that?
Thrive is the water element?
Thrive is the plant element.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and Surge is the new name for the water element.
That hasn't changed then.
Yeah, they just used to be called something different. Yeah, Surge used to actually be kind of plant-ish, but it was super weird, and that's why I simplified it. So, yeah, so I'll just put out to the side here.
You could also do Baku.
You can add those to the list if you want to. I think you have.
I've got them written down.
I shared that, right? Okay.
Yeah. I was just waiting for April. I have a lot of stuff to work on. Yeah. If you don't mind me pimping this, I actually, for those in chat, I've started a web series on myth building and world building in conjunction with this stream on my own channel. So if you're interested in that, the second episode will probably be up Monday. Doom just gave me a good idea. Merkin Howl as Barguest.
Yeah, and I think Barguest might be in there somewhere, but I don't know what it's classified under.
He says Merc and Howl.
Sounds good to me.
I think that's really good. I like
Yeah,
that
if anyone
idea.
else has any ideas and they want to throw them out in the chat or whatever, I'm totally cool with that.
Oh, excuse me. But though bar guests are usually evil. At
Yeah.
least all the lore I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm fine with taking names for good or evil beings, and we're just gonna we are kind of turning them into just like neutral animals, you know. I mean, maybe some of them are more aggressive or violent in kind of what they do for you as a familiar, but so I'm fine with like the more like evil ones that, you know, eat passersby or whatever. Those can just be like the more offensive of these, and you know, if there are some creatures that are generally nicer or more benevolent, they can be more like, you know, heal the player, give them buffs, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking for the beckoning cat, just call it by its American name. Maybe you have a higher chance of getting glint on enemy kill.
Yes, yeah, definitely stuff like that. Or like it could also like attract glint, like have magnetism or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Or even like kind of like an item from the Binding of Isaac, the sack of pennies, where it just drops glint every now and then on its own.
Yeah, and we're still, I mean, we haven't really started the actual development of these, so there's not really much in the way of programming done for them. But I'm trying to get a head start on some of that, like plan out what they could do, and then get the programmers to prototype using a few of these, images as kind of prototype art and that sort of thing.
So you're right. So the siren should be Surge and Howl then.
What's that?
So the siren, elementally speaking, should be Surge and Howl.
Maybe. I was also kind of thinking Echo because of how I like Echo's the ghost element, so yeah, so maybe that doesn't work as well. But I like the idea of like Echo being sound. I mean, that makes sense for Howl too, where like Howl is Howl probably does make more sense because it's sort of the element of like just animality, like kind of feral nature, ferocity, but also like charming pheromones, you know, that sort of thing, like manipulating kind of through nature. So yeah, I think probably Surge and Howl are pretty good, unless we come up with something else that makes more sense as Surge and Howl. Like some kind of, you know, water wolf or something like that, I guess. I don't know.
Sea wolf.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. Do you have a number of how many you're gonna add to the game? I think you said 30 at one point.
Yeah, I don't think we ever really nailed down a number on Kickstarter. We may have, and I'm gonna have to go back and double check because sometimes I forget those things. But yeah, I'm shooting for around 30 in the game just to try to not go overboard. But I would love to do more at some point, or, you know, if we were able to do an expansion or something. And so I'm still kind of trying to figure out, like, you know, how do I kind of give it... I have this, like, picture in my mind of how to give it sort of a face. I want them to be kind of like... those eyes are kind of dumb. But, like, I want it to be sort of wide-eyed and cute, all of them to some degree. You know, so we're probably...
Doom says 30 already is a lot, and how will we unlock them?
How you unlock them, I'm still kind of trying to decide, actually. There will probably, though, just so people can jump in right away in the 2-player mode when that comes online, there is going to be a shopkeeper. I recently kind of gave it a name. I think I'm going to call him or her a totem master. So basically they sell you a totem, which is kind of like an ability that takes up an item slot or something like that allows you to keep one summoned at all times. Otherwise you have to kind of summon one, it uses up some of your SP and then goes away. But if you want to do 2-player mode, basically you have to keep this item in your inventory, and that's also a way to balance the game so that you don't I mean, basically you do have to give up that slot permanently if you want to have a permanent kind of ally helping you around. So I mean, we don't want to make the game too easy or broken, obviously, with these companion spirits. So the idea would be, like, they can't really interact with the world. Like, maybe they can pick up coins for you to just make it, I mean, because you could pick up coins, like, it just takes time. Or maybe they can fly over a pit and pick up a coin, but they can't flip switches, so you can't, still this main player has to probably solve the puzzles. Sorry, I was. Oh, and so they can attack enemies at least to some degree, but it'll probably be somehow directed by the player or reliant on the player, or maybe they can like cripple enemies and the player has to kind of take them out, something along those lines, to make it so that I don't want the player to just hang back and conserve their HP while the companion flies around and just sort of is the HP sponge and kills everything or whatever, because right. I mean, unless we change things, I wasn't originally planning on them kind of sharing your HP, although maybe that would make some sense. If if they get damaged, you take a little damage, but probably what will happen if one of them like runs out of energy or dies or whatever, in whether it's single player or two-player mode, is they will kind of just turn into like a little, I mean, basically just a little orb or glowy spot. They can still kind of float around, and maybe all it can do is like pick up coins and nothing else, in that kind of neutral mode. But then like when you find a shrine or you get enough energy again or whatever, then they basically kind of convert up into these.
Doom also has are there some more basic and some more special ones that are hidden? So, like, is there a rarity of companions?
Well, I've been thinking about, like, I would kind of like to make the player spin something to summon them, and I'm trying to decide, like, this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I'm trying to decide, like, if it overcomplicates the game, like if we added another form of currency, like little elemental shards, and all they're really used for is, like, you could probably sell them to make a few, just to make a little money, but their purpose would really be to summon these, and so they would be kind of rare. Maybe you start getting more in later levels, and you kind of spin them at these totems or shrines or whatever. That's something I was thinking about. It wouldn't be that hard to add, I don't think, but it just adds more just junk that we have to track in the menus and everything else. So I'm not sure. If anyone has other ideas, I would definitely like to hear them.
I do, but I'll read this off. Do these familiars fly, or are they bound to the same physics and rules as the Delvers?
They will definitely fly, or kind of float. They'll float around like ghosts. They can probably float over pits, although we may give some of them different limitations. I'm not sure. I would kind of like for some to be able to go over pits and some not, but really it doesn't matter that much, since they can't interact with switches, or like they can't solve a room for you. Like the player has to do most of that stuff. But they maybe some of them can float through walls, maybe not. I'm not sure about some of that yet. We really just need to get to the prototyping stage, but anyway.
Looks a little like a no mask.
The
heart, I guess siren, the face looks like a no mask, kind of.
What's that from? No mask?
It's a Japanese style of play.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I was wanting to channel, like, something a little bit Japanese. Like the little eyebrows are the kind of, well, I don't know if it's like particularly a geisha look, or just like kind of, Japanese fashion, or what their ideal of beauty.
It looks a little like a kabuki or a no mask. Yeah. Those eyebrows.
I feel like it's going to need some other element. I was thinking about having some hair up here, like kind of like a little ponytail looking thing, or like a bun or something to give it like a little bit of a feminine feel.
You should keep the no look and just give it that like pleated bangs on the sides of the head. I don't know if that might interfere with the wings a little bit.
Is it just like that sort of thing?
No, like
let me look up
yeah, that might help. Frames banging the side of the face. I don't know how to describe that. But for the unlock system, I think the idea of collecting elemental shards is a good idea. but instead of tracking it on your character, it should track by the Totem Master himself.
So you have to go talk to him to see the amount?
Yeah, that way it's not cluttered.
Well, I do want the player to be able to summon more inside dungeons, so, I mean, maybe we just, I was thinking originally we would just have a shrine, but yeah, maybe there are just multiple kind of totem masters hanging out, or like the totem master might just sit at a shrine, so whether it has a person there or not, you can still kind of do the same function and, you know, see stuff in the menu. But yeah, I was kind of thinking that basically how it would work is you go up to one and it kind of, you know, it's got these two slots, so to speak, and you choose, like, you know, Fury and Surge, and then it spits out one if it can, or maybe it gives you like limited choices. So it is kind of like a shop. Like, okay, from this one you can summon, you know, a Wraith, a Bogey, and a Kobold, and it's just kind of luck of the draw, and so you have to have enough of these little shards in those elements built up to like purchase them. Which, I mean, that makes it a little harder to, like, you could grind for more shards, but then it's, you know, it's not like you're not going to break the game by grinding, it's just like so you have more options. But so I don't know. It's honestly some of this stuff was like, well, it's kind of like one of those Kickstarter editions that I was kind of like, you know, we might have added that prematurely. I'm not sure if it fits with the game, but I think I built up enough kind of ideas sort of in the lore about the different dimensions and stuff that it does feel like it fits now. It will kind of change, like, if you think about one of these floating around, like, helping you out, it does kind of change the feel of just how solitary Delvers is. But I think we can make it work. I'm actually going to switch this tail so it's more of a like an asymmetrical something here.
I think it looks good. Ever the optimist law.
I don't know. Still, that feels almost weirder to me.
I like it. I think it looks better.
I think it's getting a little bit away from the cute look. Like, I think this is like a nice melding of what I was shooting for, which is kind of, you know, Pokemon meets Shin Megami, because it has like the weirdness and kind of Japanesiness of Shin Megami while being like a small, you know, like you wouldn't see this and be like, oh, gross or anything, you know. It's just like, it's a little weird, but it's kind of cute.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei has some in the Persona series as well, which I guess is kind of under that umbrella. Has some pretty weird designs.
Yeah, I like them quite a bit.
One of my favorite games. Oh yeah, I love Persona 3. I mean, I played it was on Game Boy Color, but it was before that era. It was on Game Boy's. Trying to think of the name. Revelations.
Oh, yeah.
Was RPG where you kind of like recruited monsters and fused them together.
Yeah.
And then I played all the Persona games. I haven't played a whole lot of the Shin Megami Tensei standalone games. I did that summer.
I've mainly played Persona. I'm trying to think, like, which ones have I played the most? And I'm not sure now. I guess it would be Persona. Although I got pretty far into, what was it? Strange Journey. Shin Megami Tensei's Strange Journey on the DS. That one was really good. I like that quite a bit.
I played Digital Devil. I forget the full name.
I think it's just Digital Devil Saga.
Yeah, that was on PS2. I started the Summoner one. I forget what. Nocturne, I think, is its name. I'm pretty sure that's the name.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I didn't finish it because I just rented it. And I played Persona 3 and 4. I really like Persona 4 quite a bit.
I was thinking about giving the Siren like more kind of more feminine eyelashy eyes.
That might make it a little bit more cutesy. Those are kind of creepy eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky problem. Like, how do you say, you kind of say, like, seduction in a kid-friendly way? That's kind of what I'm going for, weirdly enough. I probably should never say that sentence again. But yeah, I mean, like, okay, so it's a being that seduces or charms its enemies, right? So, yeah, laugh it up, Nathan.
My music stopped playing right as you said that. So
I was wondering who was laughing.
Yeah, Nathan said I guess he was listening to music or something, and his music stopped right when I said that, so he just caught only that one phrase.
Baker is now on a list.
On the list of people who need to think about the words before they say them.
Dateline will be talking to Baker very soon.
No, it's just like, yeah, like you want it to have this quality of like, okay, I can like trick and seduce my enemies and like get them to, you know, bend them to my will or whatever, but you know, like, and the way most games would do that is kind of like, oh, sexy lady, you know. So like, okay, how do we do that in kind of a Pokemon style, like kid-friendly sort of Nintendo way?
Jinx.
What's that?
The Pokemon Jinx. That was a joke. Mostly.
Oh, I actually don't know my Pokemon that well, probably, so I don't remember now what Jinx looks like.
Not very seductive. Mostly blackface. Pretty racist.
Oh, that one. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know which one you mean now.
And for those who don't know the people in the background, that's Matthew and Nathan, who are busy.
I think spacing the eyes out a little bit works pretty well. Like,
yeah,
it makes her look a little cuter, a little more like wide-eyed, kind of innocent. But yeah, like doing the eyelashes does it kind of, it says seductive without saying it explicitly. Like, you know, oh, could be a charmer kind of thing. So I definitely like this newer version better than the old version, which, yeah, the old version a little more Shin Megami creepy, like little like creepy baby doll eyes. I think I might at least temporarily get rid of this little top knot thing and I might do something like that as kind of like bangs here instead.
That's what I was saying. Doom suggested bangs of feathers, so that it's a little bit more yeah, which I think is a pretty good idea as well.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to draw feathers at this scale, because I mean, we're talking these are going to be pretty small. Mm-hmm. But I do kind of like that look, like the, you know, just these could be feathers or could just be like floppy bangs, like that.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that looks really good. Is there anyone else in the office with you today?
Well, Matthew is over here, and Nathan, and then Aaron is over here where you can't see him.
I don't know if I know Aaron.
Well, he's the programming intern who popped on the stream a couple weeks ago.
Oh, right. I didn't know that was his name.
Yes, okay. Unnamed intern Aaron, aka Aaron.
I've met Nathan, unfortunately, and I've met Matt, which was awesome.
Although I guess Aaron would probably correct me that he has now been upgraded to gameplay programmer. He is no longer considered an intern.
Oh, good.
So,
we'll have to get him on. We'll have to get him on stream one day.
Yeah, he's still getting a little bit up to speed on some portions of Devil's Code, but he did some cool stuff recently, and we're like, okay, we can change your title now. You are no longer an apprentice. You are a Jedi. You still have some ways of the Force to learn, but Jedi still.
I think it's what, Padawan Knight Master. Something like that.
Sounds good to me.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Star Wars, so I know there goes some of my nerd cred. I'm more of a fantasy guy. If you want to talk about the Forgotten Realms, I'm your man. If you want to talk about,
well, I never realized this when I was a kid, but I mean, Star Wars is pretty fantasy, really. Like I
Yeah.
guess it's also fairly sci-fi, but it's pretty light on the science compared to say like a Star Trek, which I mean I guess is like, you know, it's not even like that hardcore in terms of like hard science fiction or whatever, but it's definitely way harder than Star Wars, which is like, oh, there's a magic force thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's basically, you might as well say like Jedi are wizard knights, like that pretty much wizard knights in space who sometimes use spaceships. I actually kind of like that pitch better than calling Star Wars sci-fi.
Yeah, if you say that Star Wars is sci-fi in certain circles, you will get shouted down. It's very much.
It's definitely
it's
not hard sci-fi or anywhere near it.
No, it's nothing like Asimov or anything like that. It's a space opera is the official term.
I guess, yeah.
Doom also says we need to
Yeah.
see Kobe on the stream if he's still alive.
Kobe is, I believe, traveling to family gatherings for the weekend, so he will be on a stream again soon. Though I need to make sure he does that. It's kind of hard doing these like at the end of the day Friday because there may or may not be people here, and I'm usually here because I don't live that far away and all that stuff.
And I'm usually here because it's not that late on a Friday for me. Heck, I'm usually just waking up. That's not necessarily true today, but the last couple I slept in. So I usually record until like 4 or 5 in the morning and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Because I'm a responsible adult.
Responsible adults are overrated.
I agree.
If I were a responsible adult, I would have a much higher paying job.
Yeah, but would you have more fun?
Well, responsible adults don't get to have fun. That's part of the definition, right?
Right, exactly.
What were we saying, Aaron?
Do you need me more for anything today, or?
Oh no, it's fine. I mean, yeah. So, Aaron was about to leave for the day, just checking in to see if I needed anything else.
You should pop in on camera before he leaves.
Vasae wants you to pop in and say hi on camera before you leave.
You want me to say hi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can, or you don't have to.
Yeah, he doesn't have to, but he should.
And the camera's pointed over here
Lean
again,
over
so
and say hello.
I don't know if you
I
can hear him on my mic.
I hear.
Maybe
Oh
kind
yeah, I
of.
definitely hear him.
Okay.
I mean, I do, so that probably means that the stream can.
Yep. That is Aaron. The one member of the team that is the camera is pointed away from, unfortunately. So we might just have to like put all the desks on this side so we can see everybody or something.
What you need to do is you need to like make a circle of GoPros and attach it to the ceiling, and then live stream that continuously through the day.
I used to have like a setup that was kind of like that. I mean, it was just this camera, but it was like up above my desk, like back last year when we were in the well, we moved offices, but it's just like across the hall in the same building, to a slightly bigger space than we had before. But yeah, I used to have this weird tripod that was like duct taped to 5 things so I could angle it down from over my desk.
I don't know if I ever saw that.
You might just not have known that's how it was set up.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw the streams, but yeah, it was pretty funky.
I think I've only missed three Delvers drop streams.
Sounds probably like it's accurate.
Maybe a few more. I missed a lot of the early streams because I was still working at the restaurant before I quit that miserable place. Don't go into the restaurant industry. It's awful, and you'll generally be unhappy.
So how are we feeling about this as a siren, everyone? Any comments on the feed? Like if you were a Delver, I usually save some of these drawings to go back to. If I come up with another enemy that I want to be creepy, I'll want to refer back to this one. I might modify it. But say like you're controlling the Delver, running around. You're followed around by this glowy little fish lady, like, you know, flying around hitting enemies and stuff. How do we feel about that?
I think it
little
looks pretty
weird.
good.
I like the design. I mean, it feels pretty different from the Delver. Obviously, I'd add some shading or, you know, some shadows and highlights and that sort of thing. Might have to tuck the wings in a little bit more, but I think it could be fun. So sorry, I'm kind of tired. I had a bit of a late night. Oh yeah, by the way, everyone, I'm engaged. I asked my girlfriend to marry me last night, so yeah, it's been a busy week.
And a big congrats to Baker for that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thanks. What do we want to like? Which one do we want to work on next? You had named a few. Like, we could do the food dog. We could do a bar guest.
I think, since this is the internet, I think everyone wants to see the fortune cat.
Fortune cat. Okay. What are those actually called? I'm gonna look up a little Google image search.
You can call them Maneki Neko. Maneki. I actually played an indie game based around them the other day.
Did you put that on the sheet somewhere, or if not,
No,
can you?
I'm gonna do that tonight.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I forgot. I was.
Well,
gonna do
actually,
it
I'll just copy paste it right now while I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna do it last night, but stuff came up.
So I think since it's a fortune cat, it should probably be Splendor and something else. Probably some like Splendor and Howl, or what else could it? I mean, that's probably the one that makes the most sense, since it's
I
an
was gonna say
animal.
Grim.
Grim, really?
Mm-hmm. Splendor and Grim.
Why the Grim? I guess maybe I don't really know much about them.
Because
But
coins, metal.
yeah.
I don't know if that's a good enough connection, but that's what I was gonna put.
Well, I was thinking that so Grim is metal, but it's sort of like the cold iron, like kind of anti-fairy metal. So it would be more like steel and iron and ore,
Right.
and whereas Splendor would be like gold and silver and, you know, kind of precious metals probably. And then maybe some other metals are in between, like bronze, maybe sort of in between the two or something. I guess I don't really want the elements to directly relate to it. Like, they aren't the elements of a specific material, they're just a principle. But sorry. Anyway.
I would even say Splendor and Arcane then.
Yeah, actually that could kind of work, because they're about luck, and Arcane isn't really about luck, but it's kind of the like catch-all, like anything that doesn't fit, and yeah, like magical energy. So I kind of like this one because it looks a little different. I forget.
Definitely Splendor. That's what Doom said. I agree. Gold and good luck. Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely got to be Splendor, for sure.
Can you on the stream see my mouse? I think you probably cannot.
No, I can't see your mouse.
Yeah. Okay.
You like the more chibi version?
The more what?
The chibi version, the cute sized. Oh, you mean the gold one? Okay.
Yeah, the one that I dropped in there. Yeah, I was thinking that one looks more like a real cat, but I like the kind of weird, tall ears, like the rounded ears. But I'm trying to look for some other pictures here.
Matthew typed, I don't know if he said this in the office, could be like a luck sort of thing, just like could lean both good or bad luck.
Yeah.
Tipped both ways.
Mm-hmm.
No, because fate's not the same. Doom says, isn't that fate in general? No. Fate is an overriding, and Doom and I have had many talks on how I feel about fate. But I don't know. I don't associate fate and luck being the same thing. Luck's something that subverts fate. Fate's an overriding principle in the universe, and luck is like a get out of jail free card. This is fate. Luck is random. Fate is determined. This is a good way of, I guess, putting that.
That one's even weirder, so I like that one quite a bit.
I really like the one next to like the Garfield version.
Up here.
Between the Hello Kitty one and the Garfield one on that page.
you can only see this through
I'm only
the
I'm only seeing it
feed,
through
right?
you. Yeah.
Um,
So
so
I'm technically 30 seconds behind.
yeah. Did we figure that out previously? Am I supposed to be screen sharing with you, or did that just lag too much? I think it lagged a lot last time.
I think it lagged a lot.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
guess
the
I'm.
one you have it selected. It's the one right after the one that you have up, I guess 30 seconds ago.
Um, the one from Shin-chan.
Is it from Shin-chan?
I don't know. It looks like that style. It might not actually. It's just DeviantArt if I'm looking at the one that you're thinking of.
I guess it kind of does look like Shin-chan. I like Shin-chan though.
Yeah, I liked Shin-chan quite a bit. I was just like, I was showing my friends like right after college when it was coming out in the U.S. I would just be like cackling with laughter, like rolling on the floor, and they're like, "You're weird."
Yeah, I remember showing it to my ex-fiance, and she's like, "Why do you like this?" And I was like, "It's funny."
It was a really good example, I thought, of like you watch it and you're like, okay, this is. They probably did not translate this at all. Like
They did.
It's just like it's localized. Like it's written to be funny to Americans, which is what they would have to do, I'm sure, because so much of that show would not make sense otherwise. I would imagine. I mean, don't know Japanese, haven't watched it in Japanese, but
It's similar because it's just kind of like that irreverent, immature humor. But Japanese humor and I guess what you'd classify as American humor aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of Japanese humor kind of revolves around puns and wordplay.
Yeah.
Because writing words differently in different katakana and hiragana and kanji, it like changes the way things are. It's and it's all about that kind of humor in Shin-chan. And also, I mean, a lot of it's like political and like social humor geared toward Japan. So the humor style is the same. It's just like the American style of that kind of humor in Shin-chan. So, it'd be funny if we sort of had a Schrodinger's cat reference going on. Matt says. I don't know why he's just not on the stream. I guess he's busy.
Yeah, these guys they said it's distracting if I. Oh, Matt, did you want me to Skype you in? Sorry, I've totally forgot. Matt. Oh, see you, Nathan. Do you want to Skype in? Sorry, I totally forgot if you wanted to or not. Okay, I'll just add Matt to this call.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine they're busy. I don't want to necessarily distract them from.
Well, I think Matt said he wanted to, and then I totally forgot because I was running late getting stuff set up and had that problem with OBS. Well, it wasn't really a problem; it was just me not knowing how to use it yet. And then I totally forgot to add Matt. Are you under? Where are you on Skype? There you are.
Bit of a stretch too. It lies outside physical manifestations.
Calling Matthew Vargas, or not calling Matthew Vargas. Didn't we have this problem before? Am I supposed to add? Should I add? Is it Zilly or?
Yeah, but you have to give me a second because I turned off Skype because I figured you were going to do it anyways.
Tisk tisk.
Well, let me know when. Okay, so I really like how weird this one looks. How its nose is kind of like it looks like a pig more than a cat.
The black one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
It keeps hanging up immediately, Matt. When I try to add you, it hangs up immediately.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I have to add Zilly Zephyr, not. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Remind me that next time that I have to add Zilly Zephyr rather than your actual name, because for some reason I have both in my Skype.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
This cat already looks like Garfield to me,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna have to make it weirder.
So I totally didn't hear like what you were saying about the Schrodinger's cat, the response to that, since I was like doing other things.
I didn't really
Well-
understand what you were saying or asking. I guess it was in text or something.
Okay, so like my idea was like the Schrodinger's cat thing is like that, like it's either dead or it's alive, but it's like, but like it's kind of funny because it's sort of in a way like how luck works too, because it's like kind of teeters either way to an extreme.
Can I be a theoretical nerd
Do it.
for a minute?
That's
That's not necessarily what Schrodinger's cat is. That's a misunderstanding of the concept that Schrodinger was trying to convey. He was the entire idea of the Schrodinger's cat is kind of him mocking the idea of theoretical physics. The whole thing is more of a joke. Schrodinger's cat, as you describe, which I guess popular culture kind of ascribes to, is this idea of if you don't see the cat, you can't verify if it's alive or dead on a quantum or theoretical level. But he kind of put that as, it's absurd to think that way. Of course the cat's alive. We don't need to verify every single instance of something for it to be true in the theoretical sense. And that's your nerdy moment. I like the idea of Schrodinger's cat. I think it's a cool concept. Even if Schrodinger himself thought the idea was completely ludicrous. Also, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but since Baker mentioned Garfield, there is a blog who goes through all of the Garfield comics and then takes Garfield completely out.
Yeah, Garfield without Garfield is better than regular Garfield.
It is one of the best things I've ever read.
Yeah, but it's kind of a testament to like how I used to like Garfield. I think it was old Garfield. I used to like check the books out of the library, but we're talking like Garfield from the 70s or something. I don't actually remember how old or Garfield is, but I thought those were way better, and it just got stale and more kind of just sarcastic and like not a fun way, I feel like, in the 90s, or kind of, you know, up to today even. But I mean, so it's interesting that it's kind of a testament to the fact that it got so stale that taking Garfield out is actually funnier than having Garfield in, because he's just so sarcastic, and then suddenly it becomes like awkward and funny if he's gone.
I think it changes it from a, I guess, kind of like you said, stale comedy to the quiet descent into madness by a regular guy.
Well, and it's also like sometimes it's just kind of brooding and melancholy, like when John has his like freakouts or his sad moments or whatever. It's just like if you don't see Garfield there comforting him or saying something or making a joke about him, it just shows him like pouting on the last frame. It's just like, oh, John, your life is horrible. Like, if John were a real person, he would have a very sad life, and suddenly you see that when Garfield's not around to like make stupid jokes.
Yeah, and really, if you just keep the cat there and then completely remove him talking, I think it would have the same effect. It's just this very sad, lonely man talking to his cat, and having breakdowns. How are you though, Matthew? I forgot to ask.
I'm good. I'm just like, my computer's running pretty slowly, so I'm just like, God.
Did you install something new recently, by the way? Anything that's changed in the last couple days that... Or maybe some of your RAM went bad, honestly. Like, I don't know. Your computer's acting pretty weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It might be City Skylines. I'm kidding, not that.
Oh, Nathan, you're still here? I thought you were leaving.
Are you liking City Skylines, Matthew?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I
I haven't played it in like a week and a half though, because like I've just been so busy with other things. I got a second to play Binding of Isaac again last night, like one round, and like I was just like, I have to leave. Like I can't. Like it was just bad. Like I've been doing really good, and like I had a really good track record and stuff. And I was like, I mean, I don't play very much, but I'm not like horrible at the games. But like, I came back to it, and I was just like, what the hell? What happened?
Yeah.
Which is weird because normally that's not what happens. Normally I'm just like, okay, I got this, and I'm just like instantly able to do it. Like I don't know. I guess it's been like 3 weeks since I played last, so that makes me sad.
I'd be back to novice level. I saw you playing last night on my friends list.
Yeah.
I have 2 more things to unlock, and then I'll have True Platinum God.
Yeah, I'm not actually planning on finishing the game entirely because like I just don't see the point. Like it's a fun game, but like really, I have real life to get back to.
Except yesterday you were telling me your real life consisted of you trying to figure out how to one-up people with babies on social media.
Oh my god, that was a joke.
Matthew is going to go out and steal children just to post on his Facebook. Don't do that. Anyone out there, don't steal babies. It's bad for you.
Bad for the baby.
Ryan Wheaton says, quote unquote, real life. Life is an illusion. You can't solve hard solipsism. That might be a little more theoretical than we need to be on the stream, though.
Okay, I really like that change. It makes him look like more sly and creepy, and also cute, moving the mouth up there.
I like what Matthew was saying on chat, where maybe this familiar isn't necessarily always a good thing. Maybe it will do some bad things for you too.
Yeah.
So maybe it gives you a chance of spawning money from enemies, but maybe every once in a while, I don't know how you guys are doing enemy pools for floors. So I suppose I should preface this next statement with that, but instead of fighting a typical enemy in a certain room, it pulls from a higher tier priority. So it's a harder room for you in general. The reward is still really good, but it's like, oh, well, I'm giving you something good, but like kind of like a genie, like, well, you said you wanted $100, so here's 100 deer. No, you meant money? Oh, well, I guess you should have specified. Something like that. I think that'd be like a really cool thing to do with some of the familiars. Like, yeah, they're really good familiars, they're really powerful familiars, but having them around you isn't necessarily a good idea all the time. Sometimes they'll really mess you up.
Yeah, and I think the enemy pool thing would probably be possible. It would be more like a well, it would definitely require some funky like loading, unloading of data kind of stuff. But what we could build something in where there's like a higher difficulty set built within each level, and so there's either like a very small chance of getting that, or the familiar could just way amp up the chance of getting that hard set. I was actually trying to figure out how to. So I'm trying to draw just half of him, like draw him down the middle here. But I was trying to figure out, okay, if we want to make some kind of Schrodinger's cat joke or something, like how can I kind of put him in a sack, or like I was thinking about using his collar to like tie off the sack, so doing something like this. Which is, the style is kind of getting off from the, this other one over here, but I'm fine with them all looking like pretty different. As long as there's like some kind of stylistic consistency. So maybe all the eyes have a similar type of kind of glowing effect or whatever, but yeah, so I was thinking like, okay, tie off this sack sort of thing with it's kind of hard to, I guess I just need to make the sack fatter.
Also, on like a good and bad familiar, I'm sure Matthew can back me up on this, but in Binding of Isaac, there are things like the beggars, the regular beggar and the dark, I guess they're called bums.
Bums, yep.
Yeah, there's bum and dark bum. The bum and dark bum will sometimes spawn. Dark bum will spawn enemy spiders. Sack of bombs will spawn troll bombs. things like that. So there's a good precedent for items like that follow you around, but can not necessarily be good for you. And speaking of 100% in games, I definitely want a 100% Delver's Drop. I don't have that much of a life. But I don't really care for the regular bum, but I mean, Dark Bum and all the sack items I think are really cool items in the Binding of Isaac.
You know, I was just thinking that I feel like the Siren is more interesting because we combined a couple different ideas. Where right now, I mean, I guess I'm trying to combine the Schrodinger's cat thing with the fortune cat sort of idea, but it feels a little ordinary. Like it looks more like a cartoon character. So I need to do something to like. I probably just need to not do the typical cat smile or the typical nose or something like that.
There's also the Bakaneko, which is like a monster cat with 2 tails, usually assigned with fire. Also a Japanese kind of thing.
We could put that in the list as a different one, or yeah, I mean, if this continues to give me trouble, I might dig up something else to combine it with like that. But I'm wondering, for right now, I'm wondering if I can make the mouth a little more, like now the mouth looks more weird.
Can't you put well, this might solve your problem. Can't you just put a burlap sack on its head and make the eyes shine through?
How will you know it's a cat then?
Well, like have the ear contours from the sack. I like that idea. You could call it like
I don't want it to look like a ghost, I guess. I don't know.
Also, you could have like the paws and the tail like dangling down as it floats behind you, I guess, to make it look like a cat too. But then again, yeah, it might look like a ghost.
Big size, Matthew.
What have you been up to recently, Matthew? You said you were busy.
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
NDA, sorry.
Well, I just meant like, how are you doing? Like, RL and all that. You don't need to
it's
like.
Been, it's just, I don't know. It's just been really busy and stuff, like school stuff and whatever. And then some freelance stuff. Well, not freelance, more like.
Well, freelance, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Pro bono.
Yeah, and the pro bono stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're doing okay out there in the frigid north. It's not
actually pretty humid right now.
Yeah, more like wet and stormy has been our last couple days.
Arizona's not too far away. You guys could move the entire office. It's nice. It's nice here.
I don't like dry heat.
You wouldn't like it then.
So what is this thing it's holding? Is that a tablet or a lantern or something else?
It's a coin. It's a yen piece.
It's a giant coin.
It's an iPad.
Yeah.
Is that what that's supposed to be?
Yeah, it's a coin.
Okay.
I think it might be a mon. I don't know quite what coin that is. It's not a yen. It's like an old yen. I think most yen now are circular.
It's supposed to be the same coin that Meowth has on his face, right?
Yeah. Same style, which I think is called a mon. It's before the Meiji Restoration, I think is what they were using.
So I'm starting to like this more, but I think that the sack is just kind of hard for me to draw like this, or it just doesn't look right when I draw it like that.
It's also the same coin that's in Getchamon, which is a N64, and I guess there's a couple other games.
A Koban.
Koban, thank you.
Koban's the coin. That looks silly. I'm kidding. It's weird that they look more like Egyptian than like Japanese.
Yeah.
The cats themselves, or what?
No, the Kobans, they look like Japanese stuff instead of like Or they look like Egyptian stuff instead of Japanese.
I have a 5-cent yen piece on my keychain. Is it supposed to bring good fortune? It's got a hole through it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it has very, it almost looks Korean script on the writing. It doesn't look Japanese. I don't know if you've seen the two alphabets. Korean's more circular and octagonal,
Yeah.
whereas Japanese looks more, I guess, what you'd imagine Chinese and Japanese and that kind of script look, since they're, derivative, I suppose. I like what you're doing with the face, though. I like the sack, too. I thought that was pretty funny.
Just hiding it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
covered his face. Yeah. I was actually thinking about like if you didn't want to like show his face and just like cover it, the cat smile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
You
what
already
Doom
did
was
that
saying.
though.
Yeah, that's what Doom was saying, sort of. Instead of having him like from the waist, or the neck up as a head, have it body down,
Yeah.
shoulders down. I guess is a good way of putting it.
I'm trying to figure out how to do the arm in a way that's not super weird, since I'm kind of thinking that these things don't really typically have arms and legs, or they might have arms but no legs, and so on.
This may just be, I don't know, a weird sense of humor from me, but what you should do is kind of like make it look more like a hobo, like a quintessential, like the idealized style of a hobo. So instead of actually just being in a sack, it should be like in sackcloth, and kind of look, like the 1940s style hobo. So it's kind of like an interplay on I'm really fortunate, but here I am looking like a beggar.
Yeah. So he would have like his stick with the like the Humble Bundle style.
Yeah,
thing on the end.
exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, so that the arm wouldn't necessarily look like it's just sticking out of the sack. Like you could like fray the edges so it looks like he's actually wearing that as like a jacket
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. I think that'd be kind of that kind of skirts the line of cute and kind of serious at the same time. I think that's very Persona-esque. I could see an enemy like that in Persona.
Well, I was wondering. I mean, if we're kind of trying to subvert the ideas a little bit, maybe he's sort of like he's good luck for you, but he's got like a little cup, like he's begging for money or something like that, or has been begging from money and might drop some.
Yeah, I like that. You can always have the
Pet
cat
hobo?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was suggesting. Doom says can always have the cat grab the coin through the sack, which I think is a cool idea as well.
This is what we've come to.
Game design, the glamorous life, drawing hobo cats. They don't tell you this in CODs, do they, Matthew?
I didn't sign up for this.
One day you'll be sitting on a stream talking about hobo cats. Prepare yourself. Get mentally prepared. I really like the Force Elemental. I don't know if I don't necessarily think it'll be called that anymore, but that's the thing in the top left for the stream. I also thought of adding a what's his name? Deadmau5 5 joke on the companion sheet for Matthew, since I know he likes the electronic music.
I actually don't like him very much. Like
I was gonna ask if you cared for him. I'm not a big fan.
not really. It's like he's okay, I guess.
I think there are better people doing things way more innovative than he is. I just think he's kind of in the numinous.
It's not the innovation's not a problem for me. Like I don't really care so much about that because like I listen to chiptunes. Like what? I don't. I could care less about innovation. I don't know. Maybe like is there like another cat person who does like music or something. Like they had their name like it's like some kind of cat. It's like Dead Cat Bounce or something. I don't know.
Oh, I know. I think it's Monster Cat. Does
Oh, Monster
a lot
Cat.
of yeah,
Duh.
I think.
Yeah, but that's like it's more like a record label than anything else.
Yeah, but they produce a lot of dubstep and electronic stuff as well. I don't know. That's the only one that I can think of that's kind of like animal themed. I really like electronic music, but I don't. Unlike like with the actual bands, I generally don't try to like learn about the people behind electronic music, because I guess I'm more interested in the I don't know. I'm more on the innovation side. I really like listening to strange and new things, as opposed to.
Well, I'll give one exception to that, because I kind of agree on like most levels, because like half the time I just don't really care about like the backstory and stuff like that, except for one person, and this one person is super weird, and I don't know how. I know like a lot of people probably won't even like the way like his music sounded, and that's the Renard Quinston.
Never heard of him. I'll look him up later.
You're probably gonna be weirded out, because, well, that's not nice of me to say. Like he's just different.
I know Doom likes to tell me I'm pretty normal, but I think you guys underestimate how bizarre I can be. I just hide it well. I really like weird music and stuff like that.
Okay, then you should definitely look up Renard Quinston. He's got like a ton of different personas though. So like if you just look under like his Bandcamp, you'll it'd be like Lapfox Tracks or something.
Yeah, I found him.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Alt J a lot today.
Are they from Britain?
They're from Leeds, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, Britain. I don't know. I like his I don't know what the lead singer's name is, but I really like his singing style. I think a lot of
Oh yeah,
people
me
would,
too. It's like
I don't know.
It's like a junky sort of like solar sound, and it works.
Mhm. And he does a lot of weird variation with like pronunciation and how he like actually sings the tones and things like that. I like that sort of stuff. I like bands who like to kind of mess around with that sort of thing. We're talking about things completely unrelated while Baker draws here, but that's hopefully
It's
all
okay.
right.
I'm getting really tired.
Yeah, man.
So
whenever you want to, we've gone for an hour and 13 minutes.
Well, I'm feeling much more happy with this guy now.
Yeah, I like it. I'll suggest this to you, Matthew. This is a local band, but you might like them. They're called Andrew Jackson Jihad. You might have seen me tweet about them a little bit. They're really
The heck?
they're very punk folkish. I suggest anyone who kind of likes punk rock or folk music to listen to them. They're pretty cool.
Punk folk? Isn't that sounds like what's it called? The Irish stuff?
Flogging Molly.
Yeah, it sounds like Flogging Molly. Like that basically sounds like what you just described.
I would call Flogging Molly punk folk a little bit. They're definitely more punk than folk. Where I think Andrew Jackson Jihad is more folky than punk.
There's an actual genre name for that. I don't know what it's called though. Well, I mean, I do. I just don't. I can't. It's not coming at
Rockabilly.
them. No, I don't think so.
I did
I've
not.
actually never been really sure what even rockabilly means ever.
Yeah, it's one of those weird genre types that people just kind of came up with on their own. Like, this kind of has bluegrass elements, but they're rock, so we'll just call them rockabilly. It's like, okay, I guess that's how that works. I generally don't go with genre. Oh, well, this is heavy metal. Well, what do you mean? I don't know if you heard last stream, but I had said that Led Zeppelin was heavy metal, and chat called me out on that.
Well, didn't we establish that he used to be like that?
Yeah,
When the term
yeah.
originated.
Led Zeppelin was
So you were
originally
actually
heavy metal.
correct, I think.
Yeah, it came out that I was, but
Yeah.
they're not heavy metal anymore. They're classic
Yeah.
rock. But that's my point. Genres in music, kind of like fucking for virginity. Sorry to be crude. I try not.
I guess I don't know what you mean now when you say that.
Like it's a futile act. It's like a futile, meaningless action. Like genres don't mean anything anymore. 1 second.
I guess I could make that same argument for why you should, why I still think you should stop calling Delver Drop a roguelike when it's not rogue. If we're talking about genres.
Yeah. Okay, so this is something that the chat won't understand, but Matthew, myself, and some foreign people have had some fairly heated discussions on the concepts behind Metroidvania's roguelikes and procedural dungeon generation, or whatever you want to call procedurally generated labyrinth.
When does this happen? Because I guess I totally missed it, because I would probably have a lot to say.
The last time I think was like 4 or 5 months ago, but
Okay.
I remember these discussions because I think that they're really interesting, and I think that they need to be preserved and discussed more. I think discussing genre is interesting, but I think that genres in the present day are meaningless because there are so many people blending the concepts.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're more important on a historical note, which is why I think calling Delver's Drop a roguelike is less about what it currently is and what it's pulling from. Which is my contention. I know there are other people who have stronger contentions with Matthew saying that we should call it procedurally generated labyrinths and whatever.
I'm sorry, I totally zoned out. Like, what did you say?
I said I both agree and disagree with you, Matthew. Sorry.
Okay.
I said I think genre is something that we need. I think genres are things that we need to keep in mind as a historical thing and not necessarily as a current thing. It's more important to discuss where things are coming from with genre than what they currently are.
I guess, but like, if I go back to the PDL thing, like why I feel like it should be called PDL is like you don't call like a platformer or a side-scrolling platformer, you don't call that like a Mario-like.
Well, they did for a long time say things like that. I mean, everything was a Doom clone until they came up with the term shooter. Like, that's just sort of the... And so, I mean, because people are more self-conscious, we're just conscious about these issues now. You know, someone coined the term PDL and said, like, okay, everybody stop calling it roguelikes. Like, let's take a little left turn here, call them PDLs, because none of these things are actually similar to Rogue or whatever. But, so yeah, I mean, I'm fine with saying there are roguelike inspirations. I mean, we're definitely not, like, I think you do have to be a turn-based game to truly be a roguelike, or at least, like, so close in structure to that style. Like, you could do a real-time roguelike, I think, but it would not look like Delver's Drop. I think you'd have to have, like, either grid-based movement or turn-based movement, or some kind of like active time battle style, kind of real time yet constrained, you know, so you can only act on certain increments, something like that, to really call it to do something different and call it a roguelike and still kind of justify it. So, I mean, yeah, like the term PDL wasn't around when we originally launched the Kickstarter. So, but we've tried to be kind of cheeky about it, and like anytime, I mean, if we have to say something short and succinct, we'll say, you know, like an action RPG with roguelike elements or something like that. Or I think on the new version of the website we've been working on, there's this whole big paragraph of like a descriptor that says like it's a physics-based action RPG procedural death labyrinth with grand dungeonization and roguelike tidbits, you know, so just like so many words crammed together just to like kind of make a joke about even trying to like genre like come up with a genre classification for it.
The sack really looks like a coin bag itself, Doom says, and I agree.
The what?
The sack that you're drawing looks more like a coin bag, which is
that, I guess that's a good thing.
I think so. Looks like it's hiding a coin in a coin purse. Yeah, exactly. I think Doom's got it right. I think it looks really good. On what you're saying about genre and stuff. That's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily think genre means much anymore with people like, well, this is Dark Souls inspired, but it's a match 10 game. Those are two totally different genres that people have made work together. Genre, I think, in the current state of gaming is meaningless.
Well, so here's an interesting question. Like, so the Dark Souls games go back to Kingsfield, which
Yeah.
I never really played. But what did people call the Kingsfield games? Did they just call them action games? Were they called RPGs at that time?
I think Kingsfield is called an RPG.
I
I think it's an action RPG.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone calling it that at the time, and maybe I mean, there's a very good chance I just don't remember. But
I don't remember anyone even bothering to talk about Kingsfield when it first came out.
Well, that's probably true.
I mean, to be completely honest with you,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really talked about those kind of games. I think the playing field has changed for video games since then.
I mean, what do most people call Dark Souls right now? Do they just call it an RPG?
Action RPG.
So people do use that term?
Yeah, I think people call it an action RPG. Doom or anyone else in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would personally call it an action RPG if I wanted to, I guess, stick with genres, which I generally don't. But I mean, even when I've described Delver's Drop to people, I don't generally even go, oh, well, this is roguelike tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
I just say, well, what do you like about Zelda? What do you like about Dark Souls? What do you like about the Borderlands or Diablo?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is all the things that it has, and these are all the things that you just listed that you like. Like, you know, that's what makes Delver's Drop what Delver's Drop is. It's taking all the classic things that you like from all these games and puts it in one category. Genre names based on game is just like physical units named after people discovering them. So Metroidvania honors the first games to ever really delve into exploration-based real-time. And Doom says action RPG for Dark Souls.
Is there a has anyone come up with a more modern PDL style term for Metroidvania? Like, is there? I mean, I feel like someone should do that, and I guess it's interesting that people don't seem to put up as much of a fuss about using the term Metroidvania compared to roguelike, but I don't know that. I mean, roguelike has a very small hardcore following, or had for a long time. It's broadened since then, but and so they're going to be more defensive and be like, oh, this is and this isn't. Where Metroidvania is kind of everyone's probably liked a Metroidvania at some point. So the I think, and you could also just call them platformers. So it's a much wider audience, and so people, I think, there's nothing to really defend, and so people are just like, yeah, whatever, call it a Metroidvania, we don't care.
I've heard the term action platformer used for Metroid.
Yeah, but that, I mean, it doesn't really describe the exploration part that saying Metroidvania tries to evoke. The sort of double back, find a new exit, go to this new, and also everything being continuous. There's no stage 1, stage 2. It's one, or at least it's meant to feel like one big continuous world. Load separate areas periodically.
Doom says exploration-based platformer.
Yeah.
But
EBP or something like that.
Yeah, but I think you hit the nail on the head with the idea that roguelikes have for a long time had a very cloistered is not necessarily a correct term, but very insular group of people who really played them and really liked them, and then they boomed in popularity. So there's this kind of original guard behind the roguelikes, and then there's this wider expanse of new player base. So the idea of, well, this is a roguelike and this isn't a roguelike came to a distinction of, is this something like ADOM or NetHack, or is this the Binding of Isaac sort of game? And that's where I think that the delineation between procedural Death Labyrinth and true roguelike kind of comes down to.
Yeah.
I say call it what you want. If you want to call it a potato, call it a potato. Just except be called out on your, you know, your classification, I suppose.
It's a potato-like.
Yeah. Well, there's Potato Man Seeks the Truth. That's
God, when you say potato, like anytime you say potato and you like reference video games, I can't get the thing of like Portal out of my head.
I thought Portal
With
2.
GLaDOS.
Like, why is that? That we both had that same
Because
reaction?
GLaDOS turns into a potato at one point.
Oh, I know, but
Spoiler.
Yeah, I know. But like, why did we both have that reaction to like? Why is it so memorable? I guess
because
All
Valve
because it
is
was funny.
yeah, because Valve is really really good at like keeping things in the public conscience.
Memes and such. They make things that are like easy to be like thought about and like rethought about and like reiterated. Which is why The Cake is a Lie was such a viral thing.
Ryan Wheaton says, yeah, Portal was the first thing that I thought of as well. Potato Man Seeks the Truth was the thing that I first thought of. I'll level with you. I actually haven't played the single player of Portal 1 or Portal 2.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
I want to. I'm getting around to it, but there's just so many other games for me to play. So many other games.
I'm not judging you, I promise. I'm just saying I'm sorry because I totally spoiled that for you. Because I'm on the same level with you. Like, I only recently played Half-Life. Finally, because I had a computer that could actually do it.
Oh
yeah,
no,
so-
I knew GLaDOS turned into a potato. You can't hide from that sort of thing on the internet. I don't have a problem with. I mean, I know a lot of people have a problem with spoilers. I consume media in such a ravenous fashion that it's completely impossible for me to avoid any kind of spoilers. So yeah, no, and plus, when did Portal 2 even come out?
Oh,
God,
we're
it was
probably
like-
pushing like 4 years or something.
Yeah, to me,
Snap.
the statute of limitations on a spoiler is 3 years. If something has been out for more than 3 years, and you haven't seen it, and you really care about being spoilered on it, then you have no excuse. Like, people get upset, oh, well, you spoiled Albus killed Dumbledore. Screw you, if you actually gave a shit, you would have already known about it because you read the source. You read it from the source. Don't come at me 10 years after the fact saying, oh, well, you spoiled this story element to me. What have you been doing in the past 10 years? You couldn't have made time. That's nonsense. Don't, like...
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing
No.
if you tell someone beforehand, like, hey, I haven't read these, I'm reading them now. Like, okay, like, maybe try to preserve the surprise. You know, if you're talking about the book series, like, don't talk about something that you know they haven't gotten to yet. But only, I mean, that is kind of a lesson to people who don't want to be spoiled. Like, tell people, hey, I haven't read it yet. Please don't spoil anything. But can we talk about book one? You know, something like that. Like, I feel like if it's been out that long, it's kind of the reader or the viewer's responsibility to let people know that they don't want to be spoiled beforehand.
So-
Go ahead, Matthew.
Oh, I was just gonna say that Idea Channel actually did an episode on that. Actually, might post a link to that really quick.
Doom said that Portal 2 was 2011. So yeah, 4 years. Yeah, it's like, oh, don't tell me that Rosebud's the Split. Citizen Kane's been out for how long? You have no right to complain. It's just that's the absurdity to me. People who complain about that sort of thing, it's like if you really wanted to know, you would have explored the franchise to a point that you would have known if you're really that shooken up about it. Plus, again, Valve is so good at making memes. Everyone knew 2 days after the fact about Cave Johnson and GLaDOS being to a potato and the cake is a lie and all that stuff. So I don't know how they do it. I don't know what kind of pact with whatever extra dimensional entity they had to do to get the skill in writing that they have, but Valve is pretty on point when it comes to video games. When they actually decide to make them.
I think they're making them all the time. It's just a question of if they finish anything.
Mm-hmm. The question is, do they need to finish them?
Well, at this point, Steam is funding just whatever they want to do. So yeah, I mean, well, and like Dota and everything else. Like yeah, I mean
it's not even Steam I mean, it is Steam at this point, but it's not even Steam. Steam isn't necessarily their cash cow. It's Dota 2.
Yeah, is that actually making more money than Steam itself though? I mean,
I don't think so. I'd find that highly suspect, but it's definitely making a lot of money.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess you could say that Steam is what enables that to make money, so they're kind of hand in hand. But I guess I don't really know what the monetization structure for Dota is, if there's like DLC type stuff like there was for League of Legends and all.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of MOBAs. I got into Dawn Guard for a little while, but I kind of stopped playing, and then it stopped being a game, so never bothered to check in on it. But I mean, something that you guys can't talk about necessarily, but I can, since I'm not associated with Steam in any capacity, but you guys are. The pay structure of Steam, and you guys don't have to comment on what I'm about to say, but I think it's something like 20 to 30% from what I've heard. That may not be an accurate number. But
what Steam takes from as their cut.
Yeah,
it's actually. I mean, I think this is probably public knowledge that I mean, basically all distributors like Apple is the same as Steam is the same as several other companies too, I believe, and it's generally a 70-30 split or somewhere around that number for just about every distributor.
I heard Steam was, I think, 20%, but 20 to 30%.
So what was where were you going with that though?
Oh, I'm just saying, there's no way that Dota makes more than 20 to 30% of all sales on Steam.
Oh.
There's no way that Dota makes that much money. Dota has cosmetic items only. The model is incredibly good. Yeah, Dota 2, from all I've heard about MOBAs, is definitely the best pay structure kind of gameplay. There's no pay to win. And I've even played Dota 2 a little bit, but it's just I'm not that competitive a gamer. I hate being in a party of people who wanted to bitch and moan that I'm not playing to the best of my ability every single game. It's not my kind of thing. I doubt anybody at Valve with Steam could pull it off like that. I don't know. I don't really track them as a company. They're just kind of that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Baker.
Oh no, go on. I'll let you finish on that.
Matthew. Oh, I was say Steam to me is less a game making company than it is a pure platform for Steam now. I have only played Half-Life 1. I haven't played any of the other Half-Lives. I own both Portals, but I've only played the co-op of Portal 2, and I've played Left 4 Dead 2, but I'm not particularly thrilled with that game. I think it's kind of boring. So, as far as I'm concerned, if Valve came out with Half-Life 3, it wouldn't be important to me as much as, I guess, playing or keeping on playing all my games on Steam. So, sorry for interrupting you, though, Matthew. Go ahead.
No, I was totally me that interrupted you. I was just gonna. It was actually a change of subject, anyways.
Oh, sure.
So, I don't know if you've seen the sheet. I guess you have the element, the familiar sheet. Did you see that I put Kasabake under Surge and Quell?
No, I didn't see that.
What do you think about that?
A Kasabake? Like a hat demon?
No, that's the umbrella.
Oh right. Oh crap. What are the name of those? They're like the 100-year-old items that gain a soul. I like it. Yeah, the yokai. Yeah. There's a certain name for that kind of yokai though. It's like Sogo yokai or something like that. I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like that brand of demon. I don't know if you remember way back when Baker was working on the elemental wraiths.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was sometime actually last year around this time, like the pot wraith and the shovel wraith that we were talking on the forums. That was kind of my inspiration behind all the ideas of all the other elemental wraith types was that style of monster. So I think it would work really well as a familiar as well, because they're not necessarily evil.
Yeah. I had another one where I put Echo and Spoil. In that combination, I put the Akaname there, which is the gross one where like it like eats all the dirt and the grime and stuff off of the bottom of the bathhouses. Like that's what it
Right.
was. Yeah, which is creepy as hell.
Have you seen Spirited Away?
Of course I have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that one of, I mean, the faceless. I forget what his
No face.
exact. Yeah, no face. He's kind of like
Really?
that. Yeah, that was the inspiration when he turns into like the poop demon thing.
Huh.
By the way, I do have I forget what culture it comes from, but it's basically a poop licker, sort of frogish demon somewhere in there. It's probably under Muddle now.
Model. Let's see.
I found it was on some.
Oh, you did. That's the same one. Yeah.
Oh,
you
it
put
is
under
the same
there,
one.
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name, but I found this article that was like the 20 weirdest, creatures from mythology or something like that. I'm like, okay, I'm adding all of these or most of them.
You know what? I think that makes more sense. The under Muddle and Spoil. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
had it under Spoil and Echo, mostly because like the idea behind the Akaname was that it's like an embodiment of the fear of like the dark or something like that, or dark places.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, I could go either way with that. But I think I like it better under Muddle.
I
So
like the idea of Muddle as well.
This one was way easier to do because I just had this little moment of inspiration. I was reading, so Vargas, the sort of spirit dog sort of thing with fiery eyes and all that. I mean, maybe we'll do like little flamey eyes, but I was reading the Wikipedia description. It said like that they walk around and make the sound of like rattling chairs, which is just like such a weird folklorish thing. Like why? That's not even spooky at all. Like. If we were to think of something spooky now, I would not think of something making the sound of rattling chairs when it walks. But so I thought, like, okay, well, I'll make this kind of dog-ish headed thing. That I'll color it kind of black for. I think you guys said you wanted to do Merc. But then I'm sort of making its body just a little like wooden stool.
Yeah,
Because
I
why
like
not?
it a lot.
Like,
It's both adorable and kind of, I wouldn't say gross, but it's definitely a little ugly. But it's
yeah.
like, it's like those like the ugliest dog contest. Like you want to hug them, but at the same time you're kind of repulsed by the concept of them.
Did we say that this was going to be Merc and Fury or something like that, or what was?
I don't think we specified, but I think Merc and Fury works really well for them. Let me catch up with chat here. Sorry, I'm kind of slacking on my job. Jet fuel can't melt. Dank meme. Valve cured me from console gaming. Dooms says praise Gaben then. Steam pretty much contributed to a stable proliferation of games on the entire PC platform, i.e. most PC gamers have Skyrim. I have Skyrim. I think I've logged like 5 hours into it.
So here's a question also. What do you think about Wendigo and Shiver?
Well,
Or Wendigo under the Shiver and Echo?
I think that only makes sense, since Wendigo are supposed to be kind of like, they're not quite abominable snowmen, but they kind of are. They're kind of in the same classification of like weird monsters in the snow.
Well, they're supposed to be associated with cannibalism also. Like,
Yes.
There's like a Wendigo syndrome or something. I can't remember when I heard that. It was a while ago. Oh, you know what? I know where I heard that, but I'm not gonna say where because people are gonna be like, really, this guy.
I think it's interesting, kind of looking into where myth and folklore comes from, like the idea of vampires, where they're essentially dug up corpses because the skin kind of peels back from the face and it kind of gives the look of like a rictus grin, or zombies being from the Hodu tribes in, I guess, the Caribbean and all that, with the pufferfish powder that kind of puts you in a lethargic state and open to suggestion and that sort of thing, and like Wendigo syndrome. I think those are interesting things that really factor into where we get our mythology and where we get this concept of monsters.
Here's another question. So the Chochin Obaki, should that be under Echo and Fury, or
What is it?
like?
What's
Is that
the
the
description?
Is that the lantern demon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I would say Fury and Echo.
I think. Do you think it should be primarily under Fury?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, because
They're-
like
they're
I
usually-
think we have a lot of stuff under the Furies or Echo section, so that makes more sense to me.
You know, I think it maybe moving forward. Well, partly just to kind of help me, but what we might do is come up with a theme for these. Like what if all of the echoes were based on a specific mythologies from a specific region or a specific culture. So they could have a commonality of look. Or something like that, or just like if all the echoes do kind of look like ghosts, or if all of the muddles do kind of look like yokai, or whatever we decide. I don't really know what makes the most sense, but
I think that's a good idea, and so far from what we've been talking about here on the stream, it does seem that a lot of the echoes do originate from the yokai. A lot of them have a very distinct Japanese style, or I guess Eastern style, if you want to proliferate them, because a lot of the yokai are actually originally from China and Korea and migrated to Japan later on. Doom also says, ghouls having these weird faces comes from the idea of vultures having smooth skin so they can better dig around in corpses. Yeah. So I think that's sort of interesting. But I know I agree with you, Baker. I think having kind of like a commonality between spirits of different elements is a good idea. It ties them also into the elemental gods, because each elemental temperament has their own, I guess, temperament.
mm-hmm.
So you expect them to have a kind of theme element going along with them.
So speaking of vulture, so I put the Norse, like, I guess corpse eating like thing, whatever it was, like the bird on top of the tree. Like I put that under Quell and Spoil also. I don't know. What do you think about that? I'm pretty sure that's what
What's the
isn't that
name of
Pokemon
that?
named after that? It's like Veofulnir or something. I can't.
Let me look that up real fast. Slipnir.
That was
No,
Thor's horse.
that's yeah.
Or Odin's horse.
It's a deer. Sleipnir is the deer that lives amongst the branches of the Yggdrasil. But I'll probably find it here.
Think.
Oh no, Dane is the deer. Here's the Oh, geez, this is a really long list. You don't mean the ravens of
I posted a link in the chat.
Oh, okay. Zerfulnir. Right, the eagle. Yeah, okay. You put that under Spoil and Echo?
Well, I remember something saying it was like a corpse eating something. Maybe I got this one wrong.
I thought that the eagle was... There's a rooster that is supposed to wake up the gods, but I thought the eagle was the one that was supposed to kill the Nidhogg. Let me Yeah, I think you might be thinking of something else. The eagle I thought was not necessarily, I guess, associated with death. They mention it with Ratatosk, which is the squirrel, which the wiki page says as well.
That reminds me also. Did they ever tie in a squirrel or something like that, like for the Pokemon stuff?
Yeah, there's a couple. There's not a lot. There's one that is like electric normal. I forget what it's called. But they don't have a lot of squirrels. There's a chipmunk, and there's a ferret. They kind of filled the same role. There's one thing, I guess, with Pokemon, since the champion or the companions are supposed to be kind of Pokemon inspired. There's always kind of like parallels with each different generation. There's always a very distinct animal type, normal type in each starting zone. So like Rattata is generation 1, and so on and so forth. So like Centrant, which is the ferret, the terrier kind of Pokemon, I think was generation 5, which is black and white. I'm a big nerd. I like Pokemon. But yeah, no, I don't think they've ever done like a full-on squirrel yet.
That sounded really weird when you said that out loud. Full-on squirrel.
Full-on squirrel. Baker's already broached the subject of seductive children stuff, so.
I said seductive yet child-friendly, I believe. Thank you very much.
I do. I believe those were the exact words you used.
Oh my god.
You gotta include Nihilgar as well, like the world serpent. Doom says we need to include the world serpent.
Ouroboros? Or I guess I forget.
Well, that's Nidhogg, the
Okay.
world serpent Norse. But we kind of have that already in the lore.
Yeah, the dragon is
Tempest.
like pretty, yeah. I guess I didn't even realize it. Maybe that's just like one of those things that gets stuck in your head. But I didn't realize or had forgotten that in Norse mythology, the serpent was supposed to like encircle the globe and hold the seas in place, kind of thing.
Yeah, Nidhogg exists within the roots of the Yggdrasil. I just love that word. Did you guys ever play Tales of Symphonia? It was a game for you.
Got it to it.
I tried a couple Tales games and didn't get that far.
That was where I first ever heard that word actually pronounced in English. I used to call it Yggdrasil. That they have that, in fact, the Yggdrasil factors into the storyline of that game. I really liked Tales of Symphonia. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the other Tales games, but I don't know, Symphonia was really cool. I don't know what appealed to me about that game that didn't appeal to me to the other later series. You're doing a Kappa now?
Yeah. What do we think that should be? Right now it's on Surge and Grim, but I think that is because Grim used to mean something else.
I would say Surge is a good one, but I mean,
we're doing a lot of, these folklore creatures are based on animals, and we, our elements, the only one that's animal-ish is Howl. So it's kind of like, I don't want to get stuck doing like everything plus Howl, sort of like the, the siren. So I think,
apparently I mixed Jormungandr and Nidhogg. Nidhogg is a parasitic dragon. Jormungandr is the one that lives in the roots of the Yggdrasil. I'm bad with my lore, apparently. I'm sorry.
Well, what do we think about Surge and Muddle? Maybe I actually don't know a lot about Kappa in terms of kind of what they do or.
Kappa are kind of like sirens in Japanese mythology. They, not to be too crude, but they are kind of vampiric in a way. They suck out the internal organs of people from the butt.
Okay, so well that fits perfectly with water and metal then, so we'll just roll with it.
And kind of going back to where mythology comes from, the idea of the Kappa is kind of like, when corpses have been submerged in water for a long time, they kind of burst. Mm-hmm. So that their intestines would actually leak from that area. So, just I guess an interesting tidbit. But yeah, but cop are also kind of, it depends on the story. That's one thing that's I guess really sets apart, especially Japanese kind of yokai stories. Not every spirit both kind of can be portrayed as evil or good depending on the story. Like the kitsune, which is the fox demon, they could either be these, you know, kind of mischievous helper demon kind of things, or they can really be out to just wreck the crap out of you, depending on the myth that you're reading. Whereas I think a lot of Western, especially I guess you'd call them European folklore, there's very, very distinct good evil. There's a very distinct line between what's a good spirit, what's a bad spirit. Whereas in I guess Taoist and Buddhist and Zen and Shinto mythology, there's more of a delineation between the spirits, where there are some good, some bad, and it's I guess up to the reader to decide, or the teller to decide what kind of light they want to portray those elements in. Just one other thing that I guess really interests me about folklore. I forget the writer, but something that if people are interested in folklore, there's a topic called there's only 7 stories that can be told. I'll look up the name of the person who put it up. But the whole concept is there's only 7 or 8 different like types of story you can tell, and that's why a lot of the folklore, like why there's always like why every culture has dragons, why every culture kind of has this life, death, resurrection kind of storyline and things like that. It goes pretty deep into that. Christopher Booker, The 7 Basic Plots is the name. I would definitely suggest reading that. I think it's a really interesting read into myth building and all that. Maybe not. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm interested in that stuff. I need to read more of those sorts of things. I wanted to read The Hero with 1,000 Faces, and just have kind of never gotten around to it. Joseph Campbell, I believe.
Yes. I had to Google it because I had not heard the name, but I'm familiar with Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, he's written a bunch of, well, I think he did a lot of mythology compilations or something like that, or translation or something, and then also wrote like books about kind of mythology and folklore and story.
Doom says Middle Age mythology in Europe got hijacked by Jesus. So did Norse mythology, though. If you look at late the prose Edda and I guess I forget the guy's name, but then he was kind of banished to Iceland. That he compiled the prose Edda.
You talking about Ragnar Lothbrok or whatever his name is? Because I've been watching Vikings and didn't realize that was based on a maybe real, maybe fictional person who supposedly compiled the Edda.
I thought his last name started with an S. Let me look his name up. But yeah, he tied a lot of Christianity into later Norse mythology, and then after Ragnarok, there's kind of like this Adam and Eve sort of thing. So he basically made Norse mythology kind of the precursor to Christianity in his own, I guess, in his own way. Let me see if I can find his name though. It was like Smelty, something like that.
Oh, Mr. Smelty.
Yeah, I can't pronounce the Nordic names for crap. I'm pretty bad. I only know how to say one thing in Swedish, and I only learned that because I played on the EU servers for WoW. Because all my friends back in the day when they lived in Holland, that's when they got into WoW. So they were all on EU accounts. And every once in a while we'd get a Swedish person coming in and go, "Er du sway," which means, "Do you speak Swedish?" And we'd always say that. And every once in a while we'd actually get a Swedish person be like, "Yeah, You speak Swedish. We're like, actually, that's the only thing we know how to say. Sorry for like leading you on. I can't seem. Wikipedia, you're failing me finding this guy's name.
Well, look up Ragnar. I forget how to pronounce his last name. It's like Loth, Loth Brook.
Lothbrok.
I think it might be like Bruk, or I don't know, but
Lodbrok. Yeah.
So if you find him, it might have like a link to, because there's a bunch of stuff about him writing the Edda or something like that. So
Legendary Norse ruler, king, and hero from the Viking Age, described in Old Norse poetry and several sagas. In this tradition, Ragnar was the scourge of France and England and the father of many renowned sons, including Ivar the Boneless, which I know from Crusader Kings, Bjorn Ironside, Halfdan Ragnarson, Sigurd Snake in the Eye, and Uba. Viking names are just so metal. Sigurd Snake in the Eye. How do you get that last name? How do you
I was reading that apparently he had this, like, in his iris there was some kind of snake, and it had to do with a snake that it was killed or attacked somebody or something. So, but it was supposed to be like a literal like design of a snake in his iris or something.
That's pretty hardcore.
So that like totally reminds me of that gif of that frog that has like a parasite in its eye.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
That's one thing that, like, parasites are one thing that really makes me squirm. I found his name. His name is Snorri Sturluson.
Okay.
He's the compiler of the Prose Edda, Icelandic historian, poet, and politician. Yeah, he's
not
the guy.
Not only a poet but a politician.
Yes, and a poetician.
I feel like I'm kind of hitting a groove with these. Like, they feel different from the original Siren, which that Siren is still my favorite, but just really kind of focusing on the head and coming up with a unique shape for the head is working out pretty well. I don't know what you guys.
I really like the Barghest. I think that's great. I think that should really be the theme. I think that's what you should stick with. I think that's a cute.
The Kappa might be a little more generic, but I still like it as just a little familiar design. And every once in a while I'm pulling these over, like, here's the rogue, like blah da da. And again, imagine that these have shading or highlights or something, but having that kind of float around and help. Like I think that works. It'll be a little weird, but if you have these things kind of warping in and out whenever you have enough power to summon them, I think it's fine. Like if the whole game were like that, it'd be a little weird, and it would just kind of turn into something kind of Pokemon themed. But anyway.
So just to let you know, it is almost 5.
Yeah, it is getting to be 5.
Yeah. Okay, well let's go ahead and wrap it up. Are there any other questions coming in from the chat?
I don't see any. Let me get the live thing back up. So, you want to wrap this up then, Baker and Matthew? Okay. So thanks to everyone for joining us for the live stream of Delver's Drop. I'm Vasae, and you can follow me at my work at 830awesome on YouTube or VASAE on Twitch.
And I'm Ryan Baker, a member of the Pixelscopic team, and Matthew, a member of the team as well.
Yep.
And so the game is still in development, but if you like what you've seen today, you can pre-purchase the game and play it immediately at delversdrop.com/buy, which is BUI. So, Vasae?
We'd also like to invite you to be involved with the rest of our fanning community at our forums, which if Matthew wants to post a link in the chat, since I know he's there. If nothing else, make sure to visit our straw poll, which I'll be posting a link to because I forgot to make one this morning. At the chat to vote on next week's discussion topic. Also, since not a lot of people voted last week, I would actually prefer to see more familiars for next week. So
yeah, we could keep it up for a week or two. I mean, it's like an hour or two of interesting discussion, and this is pretty fun. It's kind of a nice break from the other stuff I've been working on. So
yeah, maybe we can just say, since I kind of forgot to actually do the straw poll this morning. I think the familiars is a good thing. I like it, and I thought we had some pretty good discussion today. I hope you guys enjoyed in the chat. Not a lot of questions coming in from it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing either. But feel free to ask questions. We are here to answer them, and I guess we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming, guys.
So we'll be back at, did we say what time? 3 p.m. next week?
Oh no,
Fridays?
we'll be back at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are in daylight savings time, so just keep that in mind. But we will be back next week at 3.
All right. Well, we have this little my cheesy closing phrase, which I don't know if people you can tell us if you like it or not, but we might just do it. I don't care if it's uncool. So until next time, keep your torches lit.
Oh God.
I like it. I want you to say it though. That's why I didn't read it.
Matt, it's your turn next time.
Damn it.